It's time for The Scraphouse with Austen Lane and Kasey Sports Jack's 24/7 network.
Another edition of the Scraphouse Action Sports Jack's 24/7 network from Jacksonville all the way out to Las Vegas. Austen Lane holding it down there. I am in Jacksonville preparing for the storm. Austin is in the desert, not preparing for a storm at all, but working hard preparing for a fight. I'm sure is a lot tougher than preparing for the storm, Austin.
Well, no, listen, man. I mean, I guess it wouldn't be called the Scrap House, Casey, if I didn't directly come from sparring and strength work right to the show. No shower, no nothing, man. Got to put on for the wrestling fans out there. So, you know, in true Scrap House tradition, and hopefully everyone there in Jacksonville staying safe, doing what you need to do to make sure your families are good and everything, and make sure everything's kind of boarded and locked up. Because from what I've heard, it could be pretty serious.
Yeah. Listen, I'm not saying you're, dumb or smart, but what I am saying is you may have left your car parked under a tree here. I'm just saying it's going to be windy. So we'll see if, we'll see if that thing's still here when you get back from Vegas. No promises.
Yeah. I didn't think about that.
Right under a tree.
Got the Bozard built Ford truck right now. So hopefully, that holds up. Hey, that's going to hold up. But yeah, it is more of the 2012 Cadillac station wagon that I'm a little worried about. But man, when you're driving around in a new Ford truck, it's like everything else is minor. You know what I'm saying?
I hear that. I absolutely hear that. We've got SmackDown, we've got Raw, and we've got Bad Blood. We'll get to Bad Blood in a second. But my appetizer is this. Did not care for it. It did not care for the majority of the show.
Didn't care for SmackDown, huh?
No, I'm talking about Bad Blood.
Oh, Bad Blood. Okay, interesting. Yeah, I mean, listen, we'll get into it. I don't know what it is with WWE, man, where big time matches that need to finish properly
don't
go to the wayside. Refs, the bell ringer, whoever the case may be, somebody always messes up royally. And we saw that again, obviously, with Rhea Ripley and Liv Morgan, but that's for a little bit later on the show today.
Yeah, absolutely. So we will start with SmackDown, and again, there's not a ton here there is some important stuff, but not really storyline stuff, in my opinion, on SmackDown. But
well, let's go with the big thing first, Casey. Hardy, huh?
Yeah, like here's the thing. Hardy's fine. He's no jelly roll, right? But like, why? I file that under why did we make this decision to do this?
So, Casey, listen. I'm just not in this. I'm in a lot of segments. I'm just not in this whole clique. On a scale of 0 to jelly roll, where are you putting Hardy? Because like I know who Hardy is. Sure. I couldn't name a song, but my understanding it's like country, but it's like also kind of hardcore.
It is. That's exactly correct.
I feel like isn't a good combination. So where are you putting him on the scale between 0 and jelly roll?
In my personal scale?
Yeah, I mean the only scale that matters, Casey, really.
I'm gonna give it like a solid 4. I'm not super in on the heart. Like, here's the thing: he has a couple of songs, or he has the main song with Lainey Wilson that I like, which is cool. But
sure,
as a I'm gonna turn it on in the car in vibe situation.
Yeah,
Hardy's not usually a go-to. So
now, is Lainey Wilson the girl with the pants?
She's the girl with the pants.
Okay, I mean, hey, that's her brand. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Now she may have got it like on that Ozempic train I heard, and like maybe killed everything, but like okay, that's what I heard. Okay.
Yeah, there's not a lot of pants photos being posted at this time because of the Ozempic situation. It was a bit of a debacle. I'm not going to lie to you one bit. It was just foul, but good for her. She's living her best life, which is cool.
Do your thing. Yeah.
Hardy's living his best life at SmackDown, which is fine.
Yeah.
I'm not
living his best life, introducing AJ Styles, which was, listen, if I'm AJ Styles, maybe a little better like premiere for me coming back, but whatever.
Especially now because obviously the headliner here is AJ Styles in the return hurt.
Yeah.
Not good. Feel bad for him because it looked pretty serious.
So it looks serious. Let me ask you this: Is this actually a real thing, Case, or just a work? Because
interesting.
I read a lot where people can say it's a work, and it makes sense because the whole thing is okay. He quits. He's over the hill. He's on the back nine of his career. So like you tease the leg injury a little bit, but then you see the instant replay. It's like, no, that looks legit. That looks like he actually hurt himself, and it just kind of felt cluttered at the end where I feel like that wasn't the finish that they were going for.
I agree. I think he's actually hurt would be my
Mm-hmm.
guess from watching it. Again, I haven't really looked too much into it, but I think it would be such a weird story to tell. Like I understand the story that you are telling, but he's been gone for so long and you're telling me 18 minutes in, he's like, you're going to pull this as a storytelling part of it. So I think he's truly hurt. I mean, he does a lot of crazy stuff. He hasn't been doing crazy stuff in months, and then you start jumping around and doing that kind of stuff. And I guess these things happen, but you hate to see it. I mean, again, I said it, I think last week, I don't know what AJ Styles is like doing for me at this point in terms of what story you're going to tell, but you don't want to get hurt, obviously.
No, you don't want to get hurt. But Casey, also though, I mean, we've been talking about like, what do you do with Andrade? What do you do with, Carmelo Hayes? Because these guys are top-notch wrestlers, top-notch workers, but you don't have guys to pair with them. And I think AJ Styles, like, no matter who AJ works with, and I get it, man. Like, some people might be over AJ Styles. He's been around for a bit now. I still respect him. I still respect the in-ring work. And you got to ask yourself, like, that made a lot of sense to maybe have, like, a feud with Carmelo, maybe somehow work it with Andrade. Do you bring in LA Knight as well? Like, because AJ can work with anybody, So that's why I do feel like, this was a real injury, because it ended abruptly. It ended kind of messy. And then you see the reaction when he was leaving the ring where he looks genuinely hurt. So something to keep an eye on, how serious it is. I haven't really read reports yet of like what the injury even is, but you hate to see that from a guy who's obviously been out for a while, come back, and the first night that he's back gets hurt again.
Yeah, you hate to see it. And I do think that's a good point with Carmelo Hayes and Andrade. He fits in that kind of category well. What you could have done. Now I think we're lining up for more Carmelo Hayes Andrade, which I'm not mad about, but at some point they got to do something else, you would think. But unfortunate for AJ Styles. I got to give you some flowers on this. Chelsea Green.
Go on.
It was incredible. It was unbelievable.
Dude, I'm not gonna lie. I watched that match, and I'm like, keep in mind, because like the way that works here in Vegas, we're 3 hours behind. So you already watched it probably, and I was still waiting to see what the match was going to be.
Actually, that's a good point.
Yeah. So, or else I would have texted you immediately. So I hadn't seen it yet, and the whole world too, I feel like, saw it. And I didn't read the spoilers or anything, but I'm like, man, I feel like this is going to be bad. I feel like it's going to be sloppy, and I feel like Casey's going to like absolutely lay into me here. I
was hoping for that.
Green. But you know what? Overall, I thought it was a pretty solid match. And
it was awesome.
The ending was, the finish was insane.
Yes.
And I'll be honest, like, it was the exclamation point, or as Brent likes to say, it was the bow on the show. But the room for error there, where like if Mishin like takes her like maybe like a foot more back and she smacks her head on that dumpster, it could have been catastrophic, Casey.
Yeah, I mean that's the finish.
Here we go. Great view.
I mean you're saying it. I mean on that where her head's gonna land. I mean you can see where how much space they had. They didn't have much of it. They executed it perfectly. In this picture, they're both in midair. They're both flying, if you will. I mean, dude, I thought it was great. Like, I thought as the gimmick, it was obviously one thing, but then the match, I thought delivered. I thought they were both very good. I thought Chelsea Green was really good. I thought Michin was very good. And the part that was crazy to me, let me show you these. This was earlier in the match, and this, I like honestly was like audibly made a noise. I don't know what it was when this happened.
Are we talking about when she's in the trash can?
When she's in the trash. Okay, so this is right before the trash can smashes. So when this is kind of playing out, I'm like, all right,
interesting.
I guess. And then when the trash can turns into this, when she hits it and the trash can just folds down, I'm like, she's dead.
Dude, I'm not going to lie. When that spot took place, I thought for sure when that trash can was going to come off of Chelsea Green, we were going to see this like a bloody crimson mask.
I thought it was something.
I thought she shattered her nose. Yeah.
Because she squashed it.
Okay.
And the sound it made, dude, it was in an unbelievable spot. And I was like, she's hurt. Like, there's no scenario that this was how this was supposed to go.
Mm-hmm.
It's exactly how it was supposed to go.
I'll say this about Chelsea. And like, she's the comedy act, right? And she doesn't really get taken seriously. But in terms of the bumps, in terms of the spots, like, okay, Think about that trash can spot right there.
Mhm.
Think about how this match ended.
Mhm.
Go back to
Money
Money
in
in
the
the Bank when she got power bombed whatever through 2 tables. Like the girl's a good worker and she can take some bumps now. So like I get it. We get so enthralled with the comedy act, and I'm guilty as anybody, but she also can take the bumps as well. And once again, like at first I saw this live, Casey, I'm like, okay, that's got to be like a camera angle because that looked way too close.
Mhm.
And then they had a couple angles with it in the replay. I'm like, no, she was really that close
was
to
right there.
absolutely shattering her skull on that trash can. It was insane.
It was unbelievable. And you bring it back to Money in the Bank. I think she has the 2 best moments for the women's division this year. That and
the 2
off
oh my god moments
off the ladders. I mean,
yeah.
she's killing it.
Casey, let me ask you this. Do you think this is WWE trying to keep up with some of the AEW stuff? Because I'm going to be honest, that whole trash can thing and that finish with that spot, that seemed more like AEW than WWE.
Yeah.
And I mean this as a compliment,
No, I agree, because I think what was the match in AEW, the women's match that was super hardcore? Do you remember that a couple weeks ago?
I mean, there's been a couple of them. There was Chris Statlander taking on Willow.
That's the one
referring to.
And
where
all
Chris Statlander does the splits on the tacks and everything.
Yes. So when I watch something like that, and then I go to this, I'm like, I think they took notes off of that, because also in that match, I think they went into a table off the ramp. Those 2.
Yes. Yeah.
So I do think there was some of that, but I look at, like, I don't know, the WWE women's division, and I'm like, who's pulling this off to like that point? Like, who could pull it off? A ton of them. But who are you going to like put in this spot? Like, Tiffany Stratton's never doing that. She could very easily.
Yeah.
But you're never putting her in.
Risk it?
Yeah.
But why'd you risk it?
And then
I
these,
agree.
like, Chelsea's not scared of anything, for one. And these 2 together were
Apparently
just,
not.
it was fantastic. So,
yeah. And now, you have more of a developing storyline. Like, she's washed off the garbage, but obviously not good enough because everyone is grossed out by her now. No one wants to be in her presence.
yes.
And that kind of followed through to Bad Blood, the whole party scene that they had. So, yeah, I'm really interested to see. Like, I hope, and if you know anything about Chelsea Green, she had an unhinged character when I think she was in TNA. She didn't get to use it much in NXT, but it's essentially, it's almost like the female version of the Joker. I would compare it to, like, she has like crazy lipstick all over her mouth and everything that she does, where she's just essentially unhinged and like just not in a proper state of mind. I hope we see her go in that direction.
That'd be cool.
Because that's where I feel like you can really showcase who she is as a wrestler and also a personality, number 2.
Yeah, I just want to let you know I might have been wrong. I might have misjudged the Chelsea Green thing, because
Casey's on board, man. I finally got him on board.
I think that match was better than some of the stuff that happened in Bad Blood, which again we'll get to. And I know everybody doesn't feel that way, but I thought that was dope. I really liked that.
Yeah.
So
yeah, it was a pleasant surprise.
Shout out to them for that. Really good. Naomi, or Tiffany Stratton finally gets to wrestle. She wrestles Naomi. Naomi picks up the dubski. Tiffany Stratton, some people are saying it was character. Some people were saying a botch in the promo.
Yeah, don't call Bayley by her real name, huh?
You think it was character, or do you think she screwed up? Because I could understand the flustered idea of it. I'm not saying I like it, but I was like, whoa, what are we doing?
I mean, listen, if we're having this conversation, Casey, and we're not sure, then I lean toward she botched it, like she messed it up. Right?
Well, that's bad.
I don't know. I mean, like, we think about it, like, we think it's, I mean, we don't hang out with these wrestlers, right? So we don't know. But, like, I mean, if you're hanging out casually, I'm sure you refer to them by their real name, right? So maybe that was a case of just, she forgot where she was for a second. You forgot that, millions of people are watching you on the USA Network, and you called her by her real name. But yeah, it kind of fell flat. And that's the thing, Casey. Like, what was the payoff? Where if she actually did call her by her real, like, I don't think anybody really got it,
No, and that, like, I think there are, I mean, we've seen it many a time with CM Punk, obviously back in the day. Like, that moment can play it can be a serious moment. That wasn't it.
Yeah.
Like, because I feel like most of the people in the arena were like, what happened? Because there wasn't like nobody reacted. And then it was kind of like a couple seconds.
Like an audible gasp, like, you can see Seth Rollins where it's like, I'm going to be honest, Phil, I don't like you. And people would like react to that. Right. Because that's actually bad blood. That's genuine. Like, the lead up to this didn't make any sense to call her by her real name.
I also think there's a part of it that's like, her name very well could be in real life Bayley. Like, you would have to know
True.
her name is Pamela. You know what I mean?
Yeah, which I'm not gonna lie, I had no idea.
Right. So I think there's that.
Yeah.
Like, there's that part of it too. I mean, if you don't know, Tiffany Stratton is also not her name. Her name is like Jessica. So like,
Sure.
it's
Yeah.
it's so just different. So I think there's a lot of things that you had to know there if it was supposed to happen. But then if it wasn't supposed to happen and it just happened, now I get why they don't let her go on TV a lot, because holy cow, we can't have that happen.
Yeah, but like, and I guess these are kind of the growing pains that you're gonna experience. But keep in mind, like, she's kind of been the B-side now for a while, and like it's disappointing. Like, when she gets the opportunity now to shine, and once again, whether it was pre-planned or not, I lean on it was a botch and she didn't mean to. It wasn't the best to look. So, I mean, I think they do have big plans for Kasey. They keep teasing. They keep teasing it where, no one's ever messed up a cash-in from the women's division. And I just have this bad feeling that's going to happen. But, hopefully they put the belt on her and then she's able to shine. But you can't be having those moments of judgment, those lapses happen when you have the belt on you.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
And now that I think back on another reason, I think you're probably right in terms of a botch. Bayley didn't react. Like, if it was supposed to happen, you think she would have got more mad. I think she was kind of stunned.
Yeah.
The camera was like on her, but like, she just kind of. And then
what did you think about the match? What did you think about the? Was it a match? I can't remember now, man. I gotta go
Naomi and Tiffy.
Yeah, it was a match. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and what do you think about the match in general?
I think anytime you get to see those two work is fine. I like that you're adding. I mean, again, you were, hours before Bad Blood, so it doesn't really matter. I don't know. But you're kind of adding into that storyline that Bayley and Naomi are teaming, and then Nia Jax and her are teaming, if you will, to kind of keep that going. So, I mean, it was fine. It was okay. I think, unfortunately,
right call to have Naomi win, though. I mean, I guess, right? Because it's almost like Tiffany Stratton's resorted to being just, Nia Jax's lackey until further notice.
Yeah, you probably don't gain anything having Tiffy win in that spot, because like, what are you doing with it?
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's just something that like they did it to, and I don't think we're going to see that Bayley. I mean, we'll get there, but you're kind of cooked on the Bayley storyline with that
all good
championship. So you're kind of
they served it up. We enjoyed, and now it's time for new entree. Thank you very much.
Yeah, the whole thing's got to be new. Maybe get Chelsea Green involved. I can't believe I'm saying that, but that's where this is after the dumpster match. Holy cow! And then the show closes with DIY, Street Profits, and the Bloodline in a title match.
Jacob Fatu once again stealing the show, I feel like, with the backstage intro before they go out to the ring. Dude's got skills. What else can I say? No
surprise, the Bloodline retains, looking very strong going into Bad Blood. I don't know if you have anything to add to that match, but
no, I mean, listen, anytime you got the Street Profits, and we've got them a couple of times now with the Bloodline and everything, but it's always gold, man. Like, I was impressed once again. I thought it was a great match. It was a good showcase. Yeah, overall I was happy with it.
Yeah, that's about where I'm at with it. We'll see where they go with the Bloodline as the tag titles, because things are starting to shift in a big way for the Bloodline. You go into Bad Blood, Metro Boomin in attendance.
Yes,
all right.
Showcasing. Yep. Yeah.
Yes.
Sexy Red in attendance for Monday Night Raw, which was... Maybe we'll have time to break that down a little bit. Didn't really understand that one.
Didn't understand that one at all. But
yeah.
So here we go with Bad Blood. Again, I said it a couple minutes ago.
Let me go to the notes here. Yeah.
As a whole for the show, I did not love it. But what I will say is the one good thing you did, Triple H and creative, is you started unbelievably hot and you ended unbelievably hot. What happened in the middle?
This is true.
I have no godly idea what happened in the middle. But in the beginning and the end, you had me obviously locked in. It starts with CM Punk and Drew McIntyre.
Yep.
I will say this. In terms of the actual wrestling in the match, it was kind of sloppy. But nobody cares because the mat was sloppy with blood and beads and toolboxes and tables and destroyed. So that part didn't matter.
Yeah.
But there was some questionable parts there. But the match as a whole delivered in what we needed it to. They beat the hell out of each other for like 30 minutes.
Yeah, the whole bracelet thing. I mean, it's crazy how this thing started with a bracelet, right? But like, I did like how the final, once again, to quote Brent, putting the bow on the show, they teased it with thumbtacks, right? Which we haven't seen a lot of thumbtacks in WWE. So I'm like, oh, wow, we're going like all out AEW style here now. So they teased the thumbtacks and ended up being, the beats and the bracelet, which, I thought it was a nice little memo if you've been following the storyline at all. So I didn't mind that. Yeah, there's a lot of blood. Overall, I was impressed with the match because, like, once again, it's when you add realism to it and you get the feeling that these two guys hate each other, that's what it's all about, right? And that's exactly what it was. Now, could you have hung Larry the Dog from the shark cage? Yeah, absolutely. That would have added to it. And now the fact that Larry the Dog is not going to be showcased
no home invasion
in this feud makes me a little upset, right? Have Drew McIntyre break into the home, steal Larry, Punk has to get Larry. Like, dude, it's John Wick. Like, who doesn't love the movie John Wick?
Sure.
Thank you. So the fact that they didn't get Larry the Dog involved will always be one of the biggest detriments to the storyline. But overall, I thought it was a good exclamation point. I thought it was a good period. You can move on now. And let me ask you this, like, with Punk, and this is one of the cool things about Punk, it's so hard to tell what's real and what's not. Do you think he's actually kind of like taking some time off now and he's banged up just because it seems like he went through hell in that match?
Yeah, so just to fast forward to Raw, obviously CM Punk opens the show, says some pretty serious stuff about that he won, but he doesn't feel like a winner. And he's beat up. There's no way around it. And going back now to the match, both of them, they went through it, and Punk is definitely not the dude that he was last time we saw him in WWE in terms of age, in terms of things that he's been through. So I don't think that was it, but I do think the next time we hear his music will be in the Royal Rumble. That's my guess.
And you may not be wrong and here's what I think, Casey. I think he's actually hurt, and I'm not sure what the injury is or anything. I don't think it's all an act, just because it would make so much sense right now. You bring back Seth Rollins, so like all of a sudden you have CM Punk, on the microphone doing his thing, cutting a great promo, and then Seth comes out and maybe curb stomps him, and that's your next feud. And imagine that feud. Because people, whether you love him or hate him, still they react to CM Punk, and people are all about Seth Rollins right now. So like you put those two together on the microphone, you build up a match, like that prints money. And the fact that you're not doing that because it seems like he's taking quote unquote some time off leads me to believe he's actually banged up and actually hurt, and it could be a while.
Oh, I think it's very reasonable to believe that he's hurt and they're both hurt, and he will. Because I don't think this is, like, he can say what he wants. This isn't it, I don't think.
No, you're not going to go out like that. Like,
I wouldn't think so. So here's the thing. Seth Rollins is what it will be next when you get to that point. Like, I think, unless they skip the line and go John Cena, but I don't think Seth Rollins is next. So when I watched the match on Saturday, I thought, without even hearing the promo and all that stuff, I thought, we're not going to see either of these two until the Royal Rumble at the earliest. Because I feel the same way about Drew. Like, dude, Drew just grinds every week, and like, dude, he's as beat up.
The whole Claymore kick twice on the step, like, and I get it, man. Like, dude's a great worker. He knows what he's doing. I don't care how safe you are. Like, that still hurts. Like,
no, I thought he was broken. I thought someone was broken because he didn't move. He was stuck. Well, I mean, obviously we don't know that he's okay, but we know that he's not paralyzed. But for a second, I was like, holy crap, he's not moving. And I was like,
and just the sound of it too, man, is just. Oh.
And I will. What did you think about the toolbox spot? He's coming off the top.
Well, that was the callback. That was the Stone Cold Steve Austin thing. I enjoyed it. It's a callback to, if you're a diehard wrestling fan, Stone Cold did that back in the 90s. It was when I was a kid. I was a giant Stone Cold fan, so I remember it. I enjoyed it. And once again, like, that's the thing with the toolbox too. Like with the tin, it's all about the sound.
The sound,
right? And the sound amplified it even through that whole arena where it got the message across. Like, holy cow, these guys are going to war right now.
It did, but I'm not gonna lie. I felt similar to Swerve taking the chair shot at the end of that match.
Yeah,
Hangman. Now, the sound obviously helped there because that sound off Swerve's head off the chair was unbelievable too. But when I saw it, I was
image too of the chair going through. Like, I don't care if it was altered; it's still the chair going through Swerve's head too, which was I feel like it wasn't a good look, man. Because like that's a concussion. Like, I don't care what you say. I don't care if the chair was fixed or not. That's a concussion right there,
Yeah, it was a crazy match. We'll see. I'm telling you, we don't see those guys for a while. Royal Rumble at the earliest.
Yeah.
And
No,
hopefully
I
they
think you're wrong
aren't the
there.
ones that beef in the Royal Rumble because
Yeah.
like I feel like we got to move on. But
Yeah.
they unbelievably did their jobs. They've been
Yep.
carrying a lot for the last 6 months, and outside of a home invasion, they've done everything they possibly could to continue to carry
Yep.
this. So shout out to them for that. I hate to do this every week. Nia Jax Bailey was bad. Like it was not bad.
Yeah. It was, I mean, if I'm going to grade it, man, I would probably put it in the C range. Like, it was okay.
You're a nice grader. Like,
I know I'm a nice grader, but like, once again, see, and this is where maybe I graded a little lower. And speaking of concussions, I felt like I had one after this, how everything turned out, because I thought this match was put in place just for Tiffany Stratton to get over and get her belt.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's what I thought this whole thing was about, right? So I'm like, okay, I'll sit here and tolerate it, right? Like, we know what Nia Jax brings to the table. Bailey's the fan favorite, but even her moveset is, it's okay. I think when you mix them together, we saw it at WrestleMania. It's okay.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm okay. I'll sit through this. Tiffany will come out, do her thing, and we'll be all good. And we thought it was going to happen, and then it doesn't. So, like, to me, man, like, I was, like, on the edge of my seat. Okay, it's going to happen. It's going to happen. And then when it doesn't happen, then I go back and say, okay, well, maybe this match wasn't that great then, if that makes sense.
Yeah. No, I understand that. I think I agree with you. I thought Tiffany Stratton was going to be the one who had the title when this thing ended. Obviously, that wasn't the case. She does make an appearance, but it doesn't go that way. Dude, my problem was just it felt like bad things kept happening, right? You have, obviously, Bailey having her up on her shoulders and then that whole thing. And I've seen people saying that that's what it was supposed to look like. I pray that wasn't what it was supposed to look like because it looked terrible. It looked really bad.
Well, and here's the issue too, man. Like, it's this bad blood. So you have the baddest of the bad with CM Punk and Drew McIntyre, who essentially just both killed themselves. Like,
right.
We think, okay, Drew may have broke his back. CM Punk will never be the same. And then we go from that, then we go to Bailey and Nia Jax. And it's like, some of the timing was off with some of the things. And it's just like, you go from an A-tier match to the next thing. And I get it's hard to follow up. But that's when you put in like that stipulation where, okay, let's keep the momentum going. Let's get Tiffany the belt, and let's keep these people talking.
Yeah, no, I agree. You could have used a shock moment like the Tiffany Stratton thing or anything really, because you couldn't go from Drew executing perfectly on what he was supposed to do to break his back, and then these two can't even like wrestle each other correctly. And I hate to sound like that, but dude, I'm watching. I'm like, I would rather watch anything else at this point. And I was with you. I was like, all right, Tiffany's going to come out and do this. Hopefully. Nope.
Yeah.
Doesn't do it. You have another slight botch trying to finish it. It was just not good. There was 3 or 4 moments when I was watching. I was like, this is just bad. This is not good. And the ultimate, however the match went is fine, but the result is she just beats her again. Like,
and that's it. And then it's like, all right, well, there's still, Tiffany Stratton still lingering, but when's she gonna do it? And like, and maybe we're playing this game, Casey, for another 4 or 5 months. I hope we're not. I really don't.
Can.
But like, it seems like, well, yeah, I don't know. See, because I think this is gonna be a lot more of now. She'll be treated more like the lackey, and Nia Jax will be even more and more mean to her, and she'll eventually push her. Like, I don't think Tiffany Stratton's been pushed enough yet where she's ready to break, right? So we're gonna have to go through like another 3 or 4 weeks of that, which I'm not looking forward to at all. But
I'm not looking forward to it either. And I actually think we'll just skip ahead and come back to Priest and Finn, because now what Triple H announces is the Crown Jewel Championship, which is champion versus champion on both sides. And you say that. It's like, okay, we got 4 weeks of that, but here's the thing. Neither belt's going to be on the line at Crown Jewel, because I would be shocked if they made them wrestle 2 matches in the night. They could. They're not gonna. So now we're talking 8 weeks before another, I believe, I got to check the schedule, but because you're not changing titles. Tiffy's not coming to, I say that, maybe she does, but I don't think she's coming to cash in at the the women's championship crown jewel title thing? Because that just seems odd.
Yeah, I mean,
Like
the only thing I can see, Casey, the only thing I can see is if they somehow, like, here's how I'd book it now. Nia Jax has another celebration. Okay?
Good.
Because this is what she does. Like, this is the gimmick now. Cool. And Tiffany's got a planet and everything, and
Awesome.
obviously it goes sideways again. And I feel like Pretty Deadly helps Tiffany's from Nia.
Interesting.
And in that way, like you make Pretty Deadly relevant. Maybe you pair him with like Tiffany Stratton. Maybe they're like a stable or something. Like I'd be intrigued by it, but like that's the only thing I can think of if it's not going to be anytime sooner defending a belt.
Yeah, it's that whole thing is just close.
And you can tell by the tone and the inflection of my voice. Yeah, I'm not the most stoked about it, but what are you going to do?
It is what it is.
Yeah.
So, all right, Crown Jewel Championship. It'll be we believe it'll be Gunther, Cody Rhodes.
Yeah.
And then it'll be Nia Jax, Liv Morgan, which we'll get to in a second.
Yeah.
The idea of the crown, like, are you in on that? Like, to me,
I mean, listen, if you have an excuse for Cody and Gunther, but isn't it kind of weird though? Because like, I don't know.
It's weird. What are you going to set up?
I know. And I get like you're trying to make, overseas get them happy. So that's their staple. So good. Like you added another belt so they can claim that. But I feel like it takes a little bit of the luster because like what makes championship matches is the stories leading up to them.
Sure.
And like I get you're probably going to have the story building with Gunther and Cody, but not like it should be in terms of both guys competing for, a universal title or like the heavyweight championship. It's for a brand new belt that just came out of thin air. So we'll see how they execute it. I'm not going to judge it until we see it for ourselves. But the announcement just kind of like, okay, I guess that makes sense, but does it really?
Well, see, I will say this. I will absolutely be intrigued and tune in to watch Cody Rhodes and Gunther wrestle, right?
Yeah.
But outside of that, I'm telling you right now, Nia Jax, Liv Morgan does not do a lot for me.
Does nothing for me.
So what else is on the card?
Well, so then here's what I'm leaning. I think because here's where we're at. They're not going to turn Liv face anytime soon, are they?
No,
it's impossible. No, everyone hates her. Not going to turn Nia Jax face anytime soon. Everybody hates her.
Correct.
So leads me to believe that Tiffany's going to cash in before that, and that's where I think the party's going to come into play.
On a random Friday, she's going to cash in.
Casey, it makes zero sense to have two.
I know.
Who's going to want to watch that match?
Buddy, that's why I don't get it.
Who cares about Nia Jax? Like, who are you cheering for? Honestly.
I don't know. Yeah. That's a good question.
And if we're having this conversation, you don't mean to tell me that Triple H had this conversation?
Yeah, like it's a fair point. Now, I will say when it was announced, my thought was, because we hadn't seen Liv and Rhea yet, I was like, all right, Rhea gets it from her.
Oh, yeah. I'm not going to lie. I thought Rhea was going to win for sure.
Yeah. So obviously not. So then, you've got these two matches. What else you put on the card to make people watch? Like you're gonna have LA Knight and Jey Uso defend? Like cool. It'll
probably be like another battle royal or something. I'm sure. Yeah,
I'm good. I don't know. I think the whole thing's kind of fumbled.
Well, dude, it's a cash grab at the end of the day. It's what it is.
That's fair.
Like
I just didn't need to do it. Or if you're gonna give someone the Crown Jewel Championship, give it to someone who doesn't have a belt.
Yeah.
Like Cody and Gunther don't need another belt. Like give it.
I know.
Braun Breaker. I don't know.
I think for sure. I think if we're having the conversation that it's going to be Liv Morgan and Nia Jax, the crowd will go mild because it makes zero sense. You're not cheering for anybody.
Best.
Yeah.
It's just tough. I will say this
during Finn Balor, by the way, if you want to do that one, Finn Balor.
Well, during the announcement, we see Goldberg.
Yeah.
Gunther talking smack with him.
Yeah.
I will say this, shout out to Adam Pearce. You can see him back middle. You can just see his bald head. It does not matter who's upset. Adam Pearce now is not playing around. He's getting every security guard possible to stop attacks and workplace violence. So good for him on that run.
Adam Pearce had Triple H in the building and said, "Give me every single mercenary we can bring in for this event because I'm not going to have another just chaotic event on my watch."
Yeah, he's not having it.
Yeah.
Goldberg and Gunther teasing a little bit. Does it do anything for you if they wrestle each other?
I mean, I feel like it's going to be a 5-minute quick match. I don't know how much Goldberg's got left in the tank. I mean, people like, like I grew up idolizing Goldberg. I was one of those kids, right? Like it was right in my wheelhouse. Dominant champion. No one can stop him. The spear. I was all about it.
Mm-hmm.
Is there some nostalgia when I still see him in the ring? A little bit, but I'm also like, how much do you really have? And you talk about Gunther, who's like the ultimate workhorse, right? So like, I'm not opposed to them having a match because I think Gunther can bring out a great match in anybody because he's that talented.
Mm-hmm.
But it's got to make sense, man. That's all I'm going to say about it. And the last thing I want to see, I don't think that ever go this direction, but we have seen him go this direction before. You don't bring Goldberg in to put the belt on him.
No. He's just wrestling for fun.
Don't make this like a 3-week thing, a fill-in thing where he's the champion and we're talking. No, man. Like Gunther's the champion. Gunther's the dominant one. Just make sure you take care of him. That's all I ask.
Yeah, I agree. It was I was intrigued to see him. I'll be interested to see what they do. I'm also a big Goldberg guy. I have a signed chair on my wall. At my house
right
for
on.
Goldberg.
Okay.
So,
Yeah.
I was happy to see him. I agree with you. Don't even goof with the championship stuff. If you want to wrestle him, fine, but not for anything that maybe the Crown Jewel Championship. He can have that if he wants it.
Yeah, there you go.
Finn Balor, Damian Priest. You were right in terms of Damian Priest would be the one that wins it. I thought Finn Balor would be.
Yeah.
Again, dude, like I just thought it was not good. Like if I was grading it, I wouldn't have a high grade for it because I'm really upset about the finish. I know that there's like a whole match before. I thought the finish was unbelievably terrible. But
the finish was bad. The crowd was probably, and this is even with Bayley and Nia Jax. I felt like the crowd was super flat for Finn, like, and which is surprising because like I feel like the dude. I know he's a heel, but I feel like he's so respected in like his ring work and everything. You didn't see it translate here, and it was flat. Which is wild because this story has been brewing for such a long time. So you're expecting an electric event, and I feel like we didn't get that.
No, we definitely did not get that. What annoys me the most about Finn Balor is he's so good, like in the ring, and it's not that Damian Priest is bad. Damian Priest is not as good as Finn Balor, in my opinion. But I also think Finn Balor might be one of the best they have. Like
correct.
And I just think, again, like when you do stuff like this and you have to, I get it. But when I was watching that, my main thing was like, Finn is so much better than him. Like, it's not that it was clunky, but I felt like the whole thing was
Finn
like a
trying
half...
to play down more to his level.
Yeah. The whole thing just felt like a half beat off. I'm like, I don't know here. And I agree with you. It felt like he was down. But, dude, the finish, I can't get over it. I was furious because Finn hits him with the first one, which I think was supposed to be like a back of the head type deal, is what they were supposed to sell. It was more like off shoulder, I think, is the only thing I come up with. Then he goes to the other side, gets up, hits it again, but Priest is like standing up, falling over.
I know.
I was like, I don't even know what it was supposed to be. Like back of the neck again. Like I have no clue what it was supposed to be or what it was. He falls over sort of. Finn goes
Which,
back.
by the way, we've seen him hit this move how many times where people just stay down. And I understand it's a big pay-per-view event, so you want to like have, like that juggernaut where nothing's going to stop Priest from winning. But yeah, it just felt a little clunky.
But this goes back to my beef a couple weeks ago with the finisher. Like he's hit the coup de grace for years, and he hits two, and Priest is like, outside of botching it, like he's standing there like nothing happened. Finn gets up for the third, and in my head, I'm like, Priest is definitely 100% laying on the ground at this point. Nope, he's standing there totally fine, catches him, whatever, south of heaven or whatever.
See, like, and this is the thing, man, and this is we got in this a couple weeks ago, right, with the finisher talk. This is why I will always respect Kenny Omega. Because he hits the one-winged angel and you know what's going to happen. Doesn't matter if it's the biggest all-out, all-in, all whatever. That's it. He hits it, you're done. Doesn't matter how big of the event is, no one kicks out of the one-winged angel. And even like when you could have told a story with Kenny and Hangman, I reminded of like, dude, I'm like, I bet Hangman, after all that he went through with the drinking and everything, he's a new man. I bet he kicks out of the one. Nope. Thanks for playing, because that's the finisher. That's what it is. And yeah, it was. Yeah, I mean, to like, it was not a very clean match, but yeah, Casey, that was the exclamation point that we go home with, and it's like, it just didn't feel smooth.
It did not feel smooth. I thought Finn should have kicked out. Like I didn't think when it happened, when he caught him, I didn't think it was over.
No, me neither. I'm like, okay, he kicks out, and we keep on going. Okay, close to. Oh, I'm like, oh, that's done.
It's over.
Interesting.
Stupid. Yeah, I just really did not enjoy it. So,
well, speaking of not enjoying, let's get into the next one then, real quick. My word, Casey.
So, yeah, it's
not
good. I will say, you kind of you knew things were going to be bad when they have the open package with Liv and Dom driving through Atlanta. Lucha Lowrider here, he comes into the arena, and when you cut to that camera, you've got a stupid production guy standing right in front of it, waving Dom on. And I was like, well, damn. This is destined for failure right off the rip. And it was.
You know, and it had so much potential. Like, listen, think back to how many times they opened up with Liv Morgan, with Rhea Ripley. Like, this has been a long match in the making.
This is pre-SummerSlam. So, this is like
pre-SummerSlam.
This is actually kind of WrestleMania in theory.
Yeah. No, for real.
Yeah.
This is when the whole thing starts, WrestleMania, right?
April.
So when you do that, you have to execute. When you invest this much time, and this is back to the Drew McIntyre CM Punk thing that kind of got botched a little bit as well. I think that was their second match or whatever. You have to execute everything. And okay, Dom in the shark cage, there's a little comedic element there. You know, when he gets his whatever foot caught, like, I thought that was funny. She's beating him like a piñata. Yeah, thank you very much. You know, I thought Corey Graves had the comment. He goes, "I hope one day Rhea can find a big guy with muscles, maybe Australian," referring to obviously Buddy Matthews. I thought that was great. By the way, I kind of miss Joe Tessitore a little bit too, especially for the Punk McIntyre. Could you imagine Tessitore?
I can't tell you how many times I said to Amanda, I was like, I kind of wish Tess was doing it. I shot at Michael Cole, but I really wish this was Tess.
Dude, no shot at all. But dude would have had a heart attack in that CM Punk McIntyre match. I mean, my God.
He's pouring the beads on
him. So, you know, there was the bad blood, right? There was the hatred, and that transpired in the match a little bit, and that was fine. But it doesn't matter, does it? Because all we're reminded of is how it finished. And I don't mind Raquel coming out and I guess aligning herself now with the Judgment Day. That's cool. But the execution was so shoddy. And I don't even know what the plan was, because you had Raquel just like, you have her come out of the crowd out of nowhere. Like, why not bring her like down the entrance? I don't know.
Bingo.
You know, like you just have this hooded figure show up. Okay, it's Raquel Rodriguez. That's crazy. And then, you know, she helps out Liv, but they already ring the bell because I guess it was a disqualification. But then Raquel doesn't know that. So then Raquel takes Liv Morgan, puts her on top of Rhea Ripley when she doesn't have to because the match is over, and then it's awkward. And that's your go-home moment from that match.
Yeah, really bad.
Was the awkwardness of Raquel, the awkwardness of the bell ringing, which I don't think it's supposed to ring, right?
No.
Because I feel like
it was not supposed to ring, I would guess.
And it wasn't smooth. And like, we've seen this now a couple of times from WWE, right? And we're very critical of AEW. We got to be the same with WWE. Like, you can't keep messing up these finishes like that, because that's the go-home moment. And it didn't work out well.
It did not. I will say, going back to this was the only thing that impressed me in the match. Yeah. Because, listen, in theory, you believe things are going to go right. Mm-hmm. If it didn't catch him, like,
what
he
then?
Just falls on his head, like, that's bad. Like, we would have had a serious problem. So,
for sure.
Shout out to whoever put the shark cage together, because I would, like, I'm not scared of heights or anything. I wouldn't have done that because I just don't have that kind of trust in people that it would have caught me.
I know, and not to be morbid here, but you're reminded of like Owen Hart, you know, and like, granted, like, you know, Dom wasn't that high above.
No,
because I'm not gonna lie, I thought like Dom was gonna be hanging like.
I thought he was gonna be all the way up, like a Money in the Bank.
Yeah. So that was smart that they didn't do that, but yeah, it's still a very big reward, and that paid off, right? That set it up, and then you absolutely ruin that moment with the bell going off for no reason.
So here's my thing. Why, if there's DQ in play, why is Rhea not being DQ'd when she's beating the heck out of Dom?
I know, Casey.
I get she asked the referee, sure, but like
I asked the same thing though. Yeah.
Here's the other thing that sucked in that match at one point is earlier, before any of the nonsense starts happening, Liv goes for like a leg drop outside on the apron. Whiffs. Nowhere close.
Yep.
Rhea didn't sell it, which good for her because she didn't get touched. But then like it made Liv look even worse. I was like, holy crap, dude, this is 3 in a row that are bad.
Yeah.
And then obviously, here's my big thing with WWE. If you're not of a certain stature, if people can't recognize who you are from the back of your head, the side of your head, upside down, your music needs to play when you're making an appearance. Point blank. Because when it happened, and I'm like, they got somebody rushing. Like, somebody's rushing from the crowd. Like, that's what this is.
Yeah. I thought too.
And I was like, this is terrible. Like, this can't really be happening. Once I realized who it was. But I'm like, if you're doing that, and I understand that gives Rhea a chance to like prepare that she's coming down, whatever. Your music has to hit if you're not one of the top 10 people on the roster. Point blank.
And let's think about this. And this is maybe what AEW does better than WWE. When you bring in a wrestler that you haven't seen in a while, and I don't even know how long it's been since we've seen Raquel. It's been a very, very long time. You want that crowd reaction. You want the holy bleep or this is awesome, whatever the case may be. You didn't get any. You had crickets, Casey.
Nobody knew
what the hell was going on. Because no one knew what was going on.
Yeah.
It's like, why ring the bell? Why is Raquel here? Like, it was so many questions, and nobody cared about the end result. It was wild.
Yeah, it was not good, man. Like, there's no other way to put it. Really bad. I don't know where you go from here on that, because in theory, I thought this was going to be the end of, and it was supposed to be, the end of the Liv Morgan, Dom, Rhea Ripley story, because Rhea got to beat the heck out of Dom.
Yep.
And then you brought in your next challenger for Rhea. Cool. Problem is you botched it. So the question is, do they pretend like everything's fine? Or do they kind of address it and let these two go again, which I don't think you need. But
it's a great question, man.
The whole thing is goofy. Like,
I mean, I'm trying to think of like what I would care about more, and I'll be honest, I'm kind of indifferent to both. Like, I guess the next chapter is going to be now, like, why did Raquel join the Judgment Day? And I can't wait to hear this, because I don't care. I mean, as bad as it sounds, like, and I get, like, they're having it seems like they're adding kind of like the Hispanic element to it, which is great. Cool. I mean, you're going to have Dom eventually, I hope, be the leader of it. He's going to be like the next Eddie Guerrero, because he's getting the look down, he's getting the mustache and everything. Like, that's going to be great. But you have to give us a reason to either boo for these people or cheer for these people. And when you fall flat like you did with the announcement, she's in the WWE again, she's back, you kind of lose interest of even wanting to see her. And that's what that match did.
Yeah.
They managed to accomplish, once again, a giant buildup of something that went back to WrestleMania. You build all this up, you open Raw with it how many times, and the only end result is that Raquel showed up and nobody really cared.
Nobody cared. If you want to execute a hooded figure coming out of nowhere to make a return, this is how you do it.
That is how you do it right there. And I was wrong, man. I was wrong. I thought for sure he was going to line against Roman Reigns, but man, was I wrong. And by the way, you mentioned it. Start off strong and ended with the grand finale, which I was a big fan of.
I thought it was absolutely fantastic. There's one part I didn't like, but in terms of this, I don't know if you caught this. I don't know what happened with the camera situation, but when he comes out from under the ring, Michael Cole goes, Corey. And like,
oh, yeah.
And then Corey doesn't say anything. He's like, I can't see. He said, like, I can't see, my monitor has been destroyed or something. And then Cole was like, there's a guy in a hoodie over there. And then they flipped the camera. I'm like, what? So I was so lost at that part, but I wasn't really thinking. And then when they go to this shot, I'm like, well, this is beautiful. Because without a shadow of a doubt, I knew who that was immediately. Now, I didn't know who he was attacking.
But this is this is what you have to think. This story called for that.
Yes.
The Raquel Rhea Ripley didn't call for it. You could have just had Raquel come out with her music, her entrance, and be like, what is she doing here? And then she turns on Rhea. That's all you had to do.
Yep.
With this, though, there's so many levels to this. There's so many tentacles to this storyline where this was like the perfect way to bring Jimmy back.
Perfect. Absolutely perfect.
Yeah.
He comes from under the ring, by the way, if you're listening and didn't see it. I can't imagine how long he was under the ring, if you think about it.
Yeah, unless there's like a trap door or something, which there's probably not. Yeah, dude was just chilling there. Hopefully, maybe he had like his phone or a TV, some snacks,
he was
some
under
hydration.
He had to have been. But
yeah,
before that point, the only thing I'm critical of is, I don't know if you caught this. There was one moment where Solo didn't kick out at all, and the ref just stopped the count.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Not great. But outside,
and I feel like you can kind of hear the ref go, kick out, and he doesn't kick out. And it's like, ooh, okay. Yeah, I hear you.
So that wasn't great. But outside of that,
the entrances were cool though, Casey, because like you have Roman
Entrances.
Reigns and Cody trying to out. See, this is great storytelling, and I get like we've done the Bloodline how many times now, but it's always a new wrinkle. It's always a new tentacle, and now you have two guys in Cody Rhodes and Roman Reigns trying to outdo each other, but still trying to be teammates.
I will say this though: if we're gonna have live music in the opens, can we at least make the people that were doing Roman's entrance make it look like they were playing? Like Cody's band was actually playing, like the orchestra. And all, no, not a chance. So
yeah.
But the idea was cool. I understand all of that. But yeah, then obviously when they get in the ring, trying to decide who's going to start the match, you had just enough of the Bloodline looking like they were going to, take care of business and dominate. I think establishing that even with Roman Reigns in the ring, these guys are legit, and you can get that. My favorite moment of the match, I don't have the picture because I'm an idiot, is obviously Cody on the ramp post giving Roman take care of this, and then an unbelievable spot to kill Jacob Fatu, basically. I thought that was awesome. Obviously, Jimmy comes back. The boys get the win.
Which I didn't see happening, man. Like, I mean, I think, okay, that's Jimmy. And I thought for sure, like, see, this is why this story is so great, because it's got twists and turns that you don't really see coming. Like, I didn't see Jimmy aligning with Roman Reigns. And lo and behold.
I didn't either. I wasn't really sure when that happened, what was going to happen from there.
Yeah.
I will say I was extremely surprised. Well, when the match ended and Roman and Cody kind of have their, we're going our separate ways, we don't care. I was like, I thought there might be something.
Really?
Comes the Bloodline.
See, because I was good. I'm like, okay, like now it's that's done. That beef is squashed. Now it's focused on Cody and Roman.
Yeah,
and then
here comes
lo and behold,
when he gets attacked by the Bloodline. I don't know what I was thinking, but I wasn't thinking that was going to happen. I thought the show was over.
Yeah.
I was like, cool.
Yeah.
I wasn't even thinking about that. Obviously, then you get the good camera work of Jimmy and Roman having the conversation. We got to go get them.
Yeah,
and eventually do decide to do that, which I think I was kind of surprised by, because part of me is like, hey, if Roman's going to go for the title, you'd want him to get his butt kicked, basically.
Yep.
But it's just, who do I hate more?
I know.
They go and do the right thing, which, again, somewhat surprises me.
Mm-hmm.
How about that?
And then boom.
How about that?
Yeah. Crowd obviously blows the doors off.
They needed
blows the roof off.
They needed
and there he is once again. And now once again, and dude, I can't state this enough. Like, I was blessed to grow up around the Attitude Era when it was Stone Cold versus, Vince McMahon and that storytelling. But this whole Bloodline saga, which I don't even know how long it's been now, years, might be the best story in all professional wrestling history. Because, like, once again, like, they always outdo themselves. And, like, I was expecting maybe there might be a wrinkle here. Maybe, like, Randy Orton comes out. Who knows? No. You bring the guy who said you'll see him again, and we forgot all about it. And what a better time to bring him out than right now in The Rock.
I mean, it was perfect. It was perfect. I wonder, and I think this was the plan, but I do wonder after the very middle of the card if you had to do something. Like,
well, do you think he's just in town?
I would assume if he was showing up, he knew he was going on. So that's where I kind of contradict myself. But part of me is did it have to happen there? Like, you probably could have waited for this moment, because I think you had enough with everything that happened, and then Roman going back to save Cody. I was like, you got a story.
You're going to go home happy.
Yeah. And then he hits, and I was like, oh crap, they're going for it. Like, they're going for this. Rock obviously counts multiple persons of interest in the ring: Cody, Roman, and Jimmy. Mm-hmm. So I think Cody's very much a part of this. I don't think Cody's leaving this storyline. I could be wrong, but The Rock definitely counted him as a person of interest there. So maybe Cody and Roman, maybe Cody's going to be a part of this bloodline longer storytelling, potentially. Because we know he's not defending his title.
Because once again, it's going to come down to Survivor Series for sure, old school bloodline. But here's the thing, though, Casey. Where is The Rock fitting in all this? Because like this is the other tentacle that we don't really know yet. It's like, is The Rock going to side with Solo? Is The Rock with Roman and still hates Cody? Like, we don't know.
It from my guess after watching that would be The Rock is not siding with Cody and also not siding with Roman. Now, I don't necessarily know where that leaves things. I guess that would mean Solo, but I think you'd have to do some work to kind of tell that story. But I think the reason I think that is because if you kind of follow the tea leaves, everybody's mad at Cody for teaming with Roman. But we haven't seen anybody be mad at Roman for teaming with Cody. Maybe The Rock, who's super pissed at Cody, Roman. Is the one that's mad at Roman, and they get kind of, Cody and Roman get stuck together, and now I have to tell the story. Here comes Jimmy. You freed Sami Zayn if you want to bring him back in, because we have 3 minutes in show. So spoiler alert, he doesn't beat Gunther on Monday night to get the title. So you could bring Sami Zayn back into this. I think Jey Uso's doing pretty good on his own. So I think Cody is just now part of this storytelling. And then what did you think of the show's over? We see The Rock. Everyone's popping off. And then all of a sudden, all this social media video starts circulating of Cody and Kevin Owens beefing in the parking lot. They decide not to do it on TV. I mean,
I mean, it's an interesting move there, right? Because now that's going to be another story: is why did Kevin Owens do it and everything like that, and then we'll get to that. But here's the thing, and like this is me just once again in my own little fantasy world here. You bring The Rock back for a reason, and maybe it is to feud with Roman Reigns, but like I feel like that is WrestleMania worthy. So like go ahead and like table that for a while. So then why do you bring back The Rock? Because it seems like Cody's going to have his hands full now with Kevin Owens for a bit, right? So, like, what is The Rock's point? You just have to, like, maybe get a bigger pop and he goes away? I don't think so. I think The Rock gets involved with Cody, and I think, Cody's starting to realize he doesn't have a lot of friends. And I think the only advocate who's been there since day one, it seems like, to support Cody Rhodes is John Cena. And I think you might have a John Cena Rock situation for the third time. Which
Cena does have to. I mean, we're getting close. He's got to have to come back.
Take that for how you want. It's like the final boss. Does John Cena have to beat the final boss to cement his career? Maybe go with that gimmick. I just felt like the timing was a little peculiar because it seems like Cody's going to have his hands full with a bunch of storylines now, and I'm not sure where The Rock fits into it unless you bring back John Cena.
Hear me out. The Rock beats Cody for the title. I don't know when. Just hear me out. Beats him for the title, and then Cena beats Rock to get his last title.
Okay, and then you bring back Cody as a heel to beat Cena.
Yeah, or Roman, because at some point I think Roman's got to get it.
I know, that's the thing. We still got Roman involved too.
It's a lot. It's a lot. I will say there's a lot of stuff to not like. There's a lot of stuff to like as well. And I'll leave you with this because we've got about a minute.
Yeah.
Listen, the Goldberg thing was odd, and I know it's probably small on your screen. 1.4 million views on Goldberg's video. 1.2 on the Rock return. This was a couple days ago. Earlier, when I checked, Goldberg's at 1.8. Rock is at 1.6. More views on Goldberg.
That's unreal.
Than Rock.
That's unreal. I don't even know what to say to that.
People want Goldberg.
People want Goldberg, I guess.
I'm not
Rock
mad at
Goldberg?
it.
I mean,
no.
I don't know that. No.
We are good there.
Someone's going to tear a muscle.
Definitely. Monday Night Raw, 30 seconds in the show. Monday Night Raw, it definitely happened. I mean, that's where we are. Is the J...
Shout out to Sexy Red.
Is the Xavier Woods thing weird? Like, are we done with what are we doing there?
I don't know.
I mean, either.
I don't know. I got to see. I hope I see Big E pretty soon. That's all I'm gonna say.
That's all I'm going to say as well. We got to go. Scraphouse. We'll do it again next Wednesday. Austin Lane. We'll see you in Vegas. I'm in Jacksonville. We'll leave you with this pretty picture of the sky because it looks pretty cool.
Stay safe, man, before it gets too rainy up there, Casey.
I'll
Batten
try.
down the hatches and watch after my car, please. Thank you very much.
Can't promise. Wait.